Hello, and welcome to Our Daily Magic, where we talk about rituals you can use to cultivate magic in our daily lives. Today, we have an interview with Destiny Faye. Welcome, Destiny.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Wonderful. Destiny is the creatrix of the Divine Masculine and Feminine Rising Summit and New Earth, New You Now Foundation. She is a visionary and a channel, a multi-modality therapist, and a medium, and also an author and a speaker. Her passion and mission is global and inner unity and sustainability, and Destiny has been a spiritual nomad for 4 years, and she is currently on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, Australia. Would you like to tell us any more about yourself, Destiny?
What else to tell? Well, I'm excited to share lots about the magic that I've experienced and the rituals that I've come to learn through my nomadic spiritual journey. And I have a massive passion for community and sustainability. And at the moment, one of my passion projects is bringing together a green mini city in Australia that will hopefully be launching in a couple of years' time. So that's some other stuff that I'm working on, and working on finishing 2 of my books at the moment. One is called The Spiritual Nomad's Guide to Life.
Wow, that sounds really exciting. Super. So I'm very curious. I'd love to hear about your magical moments in life. Would you like to go into, a story or two that really inspires you?
Perfect. Well, the first one that comes to mind is related to dolphins, because they're one of my main spirit animals, and I've been very connected to them since I was a child. And
that's all good. We have an unexpected guest.
That's interesting.
That's okay. It's a little bit of magic.
That's a bit of magic.
Exactly.
I didn't even know that was possible with this, but okay. Mary Gilbert. That's an interesting one. So there's 2 parts to this story, and one was when I was traveling around the United States several years ago, and I ended up on a quest to go to North Dakota and Standing Rock, and I met a group of people there, and I ended up continuing to travel with them. And one of the places that I traveled to was this big spiritual conference, and I only ended up getting there like the last half an hour of the last day of this conference, but I knew I had to be there, and I met these people, and I was invited on a dolphin cruise. So I had been on many dolphin cruises, and no dolphins had actually shown up at all of the ones I had paid to go on before. And this particular one was one where we had native chiefs and healers and people channeling light language. So this is this amazing cruise, and I had this idea of offering to the water and offering to the dolphins this crystal that I had helped to bless with a group of people that I was carrying around my neck, and I was guided to give it to these dolphins. And then I found out that that was the actual plan, that everyone had blessed crystals and we were all going to give crystals to the dolphins. So I'd obviously preempted that was going to happen. But I got extra crystals to be able to give to the dolphins. And it was when we finally got out there where the dolphins came, it was so overwhelming. There was more dolphins than there was ocean. You could see more dolphins than you could the ocean. That's how many there were. There was thousands and thousands. And going from cruises that had no dolphins show up to a cruise that had thousands of dolphins show up, I was so overwhelmed that I started crying. I was like sitting down, just watching them crying, feeling deeply connected. And then I had this moment where I felt like there was this telepathic conversation happening, and that the dolphins were thanking me and explaining that they'd been preparing me to connect with them. And that's why, every time I'd attempted to connect with them before then, there wasn't the opportunity because I wasn't ready. So they also were telling me about connecting with me and working with me in Hawaii. And I had this lifelong dream of visiting Hawaii, and I didn't know how it was going to happen because financially I didn't have the means at the time, but they just told me to have hope that it would happen. So I'm crying and I'm like really overwhelmed having this beautiful telepathic conversation with the group of dolphins. And then the next part of the story was, you know, there was a few things that I'd encountered after that, which resulted in me ending up in Mexico, staying at a friend of a friend's place. And turns out she actually has a property in Hawaii that she needed someone to take care of. So this was within like, I think 4 or 5 weeks of the dolphin cruise. I ended up on a plane, flight paid for and everything, to Hawaii. And within a couple of weeks of me being there, I ended up on another island for my birthday and getting to swim with dolphins in the wild. And the energy of that, just being out in the middle of the ocean in a pod of dolphins, I like didn't even think about, you know, the circumstances. I just, you know, took off my clothes and was in my swimmers and like swam out to where the dolphins were, because I knew that they had a message for me and that they had a plan for me, and I'd been waiting for them to show up at all the places people kept taking me to say, this is where the dolphins usually are, for like a week or so, and they finally showed up. So that was definitely a magical experience. And then right after that had happened, one of the friends that I was there with that went swimming with me actually channels light language. And he actually gave me a light language initiation, and it was so overwhelming that I was like, I couldn't talk, and I was like bawling my eyes out afterwards, because it was just so beautiful that I can't even, being a writer, I can't even put words to how magical that experience was. It was just very surreal, and I was very grateful for that experience. It's still probably one of the highlight magical experiences. And the other one is probably when I was in Nepal, when I first became a nomad. One of the countries that I visited was Nepal, and I ended up having this opportunity after traveling through Nepal. I think it was either near Kathmandu or in Kathmandu, and I had the opportunity to go paragliding, and that was a beautiful experience. And there was a bunch of eagles and a bunch of other people, and we were all just up there, and it was actually quite silent and peaceful. And then you're just there floating around like you're a bird flying with all of these other birds, with like the Himalayas like right next to you, and this ocean underneath you. And I had this like beautiful, like it doesn't take that long, but I had this beautiful couple of moments while I was up there, just, I don't know, reminiscing about being able to fly, because ever since I was young, if I could have any special ability, it was always wanted to fly. I used to like want to be able to just feel the freedom of being able to fly. So that was another memorable and magical experience that I had as a nomad. And then the other one that I have that stands out is actually something that's it's less extreme. It's more simple, but it's sometimes the simple things. And that's the first time that I got to meet both my nephews. Wow. When they were like, you know, a week or so old, and I got to cuddle them, and I got to hold them and look into their eyes and see the love that they just have. And I guess it's always that way with like babies, especially when, you know, you feel that you're blood related to a child, or you have this special connection, and just being able to, I guess, I don't know, look into like the depths of purity that they have. And for me, that's always been like a highlight of my life every time. At the moment, I don't have any nieces, I only have nephews. I have 3 nephews, and they were probably the ones that I missed the most when I was traveling, just to be able to hold them and you know, see their cheekiness and look into the purity in their eyes. So they're pretty much, I think, my top experiences that I've had where I've experienced magic for different reasons. But usually I think it's the thread between them all is probably being able to connect to a space of peace and tranquility, and something that seems to be so overwhelmingly beyond like the normal, and just a space of like purity. And I guess it's a connection to like source or God that you feel in those experiences. So yeah, that's been some of my most memorable experiences of magic, but I feel like I have quite a lot.
That's pretty amazing. Awesome. So what do you feel like actually allows us to get to these moments and to actually appreciate them?
Well, first and foremost, something that I picked up on about 6 years ago, I was actually quite depressed. And as soon as I cultivated and I began cultivating this practice, the first thing that I noticed is my life began to become much more magical. And that's actually gratitude. So I started, and I still pretty much do it, but in different ways. I started a gratitude practice, and at the time, the gratitude practice, when it was actually quite difficult to come up with a new thing every day, but I bought a special gratitude jar and I like decorated it, and I got pretty pen and pretty paper, and I would try to write something new every day that I was grateful for in the morning and put in the jar like a meditation. And now I write paragraph after paragraph full of things to be grateful for. But I think the sheer feeling of appreciation helps you to view things in a very different way that can be much more magical. So that's definitely my number one. I think the number two one, which is connected to gratitude, would probably be being able to cultivate like prayers and affirmations regularly. So discovering what it is that you're wanting to reinstill positively in your mind and in your life, and being able to commit to doing that regularly and thinking about that as frequently as possible. So positive thoughts. But if you struggle with positive thinking all the time, affirmations can help redirect you. And that's something that really helped me, especially when it came to self-love. That was one of my self-love practices. And being able to allow yourself, because if you don't allow yourself to experience magic, or you're not going to, and that changing of your mentality into a positive mindset is a very important one. And I think that for me, the third most important thing, which is very similar in my own, top magical experiences, is a connection to nature, or a place where you feel peace, you feel space, you feel calm, and you just feel like you can relax and surrender. So nature does that for me. That's why I now live near the beach, and I love being near the beach, the ocean, the sand, or if I go for hikes, the mountains and the rainforest. If you have a particular place that you like, I feel being able to spend as much quality time there, and as well quality time alone in those places, I feel really opens you up. It creates a lot of healing. And you can have different experiences. Some very unusual experiences sometimes occur, but I find those to be very magical. And I definitely feel like being able to choose to have a positive mindset, and being able to, part of that positive mindset is choose to regularly shift into feeling and seeing what you are appreciative of. Definitely has opened up my life to feeling like every day is magical, and being able to see the magic even in little things.
Wow. Are there any other rituals that you have that you would like to share with everyone? I mean, those sound very magical in themselves. I'm just curious if there's anything else.
Yeah, well, a couple of the little magical rituals that I do is on full moons, I usually write a letter to the moon. And I usually write down between 1 to 7 things that I would love to manifest within the next moon cycle, and call on the support of the moon, or source, or God, or whatever you're connected to, like a little prayer. And I also write this divine decree. So it's set out where you write by this divine decree, and you write what it is that you would like, making sure that it's for the goodness of self and all. And then at the end of it, I say thank you, and I say within this divine decree, and so it is done, and I sign it. And I communicate and write to who I want to connect to with their support to allow to manifest. So that's kind of a manifestation ritual using with the moon. And on new moons, I sometimes do burning ceremonies. So if there's anything I want to release, I kind of write down what I've become aware of in the last cycle that is a block or is a hindrance. Whether it's a mental thought pattern, whether it's a person, whether it's an item, whatever it is that I feel it's holding me back that I want to let go, and I write it down with the conscious intent to release it, and then I burn it on a candle or something like that, and I say some prayers, and I use the energy to consciously release. And that's getting connected to the cycle and the ebbs and the flows of the moon, and also of just life and the womb energy, how it goes through the cycles of life and death, and calling in and letting go and being able to create balance. So there are a couple of the rituals. The other things I do is I'm very connected to crystals. So I get into doing crystal gridding. At the moment, I have 4 crystals. I usually use rose quartz crystals, and I set the intention with them, and I put them around my bed in a triangle so that my bed is that sacred place when I sleep. And or if I want to meditate there too, and I set the intention that it's like a crystal pyramid, that's like a rose quartz surrounded in love. I also usually put crystals on either side of my door, like grounding or protecting crystals, either the door of the house or the door of the bedroom, just because those sorts of things I feel they can actually bring some form of protection and to prevent anything that you don't want from coming into the space. Being able to draw circles or put crystals in circles when you're meditating or when you're doing a ritual is also really powerful, because the circle is actually a protective a geometry. And what are some other things? Oh, I put shungite crystals in my water to make them more grounded. So any grounding crystal that's like that's non-soluble, so it doesn't dissolve in water. And I feel that that's really helped for me to stay grounded. So I quite frequently will have water bottles that have shungite at the bottom of them. And I think they're some of my main rituals. A self-love practice, that's also a ritual. I have like an evolving self-love practice that I aspire to do every day. That's the things that I can think of that are the most nurturing and nourishing and healing practices that I can incorporate, and just being able to consistently do those things intermittently. And I feel being able to cultivate a better relationship to self, and the ritual and commitment around doing that is something that creates a lot of magic too. So they're a couple of my favorite rituals.
Oh, wow, that is so amazing. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
My pleasure.
Speaking of the divine, I heard that you have an event coming up. Would you like to tell us more?
Yeah, so from the 1st to the 4th of February, US dates, and from the 2nd to the 5th in Australia and this side of the world, there is going to be a 4-day live stream Divine Masculine and Feminine Rising Summit occurring. We have, I think, up to 45 different speakers that are sharing things from Tantra to how to have better relationships, to how to attract your soulmate, all sorts of different things, how to manifest abundance, how to have creativity in your life, how to have balance. So many different topics, so many different energies that will be happening. It'll be amazing. We have 2 meditations every day, one at the beginning of the event and one right before our closing. And our closing is a group discussion. So we have different topics every day. The first day is on inner unity. So the group panelists will be talking about inner unity and their experience and desires for inner unity, and the viewers are welcome to participate in the conversation that's happening with that as well. So I'm pretty sure that you have the links that you'll post for people to register, but they can also go to the Divine Masculine and Feminine Rising Facebook page, and in the event, all of the details are there, and there's a lot of posts on the page with posters of all the speakers and awesome videos that give different bits of information and clips from previous events that we've had. And it's always lots of fun and very juicy as well. It kind of is, yeah, it's been a really magical experience co-creating it, and also connecting with all of the speakers that have so much wisdom to share. It's a passion of mine, the balance, inner unity, relationships, how to connect to one another on a more intimate level. It's something that I'm really passionate about, and I'm really excited for the event. So from today, it's 3 days away. So today is the 29th in the US and the 30th in Australia. So it starts Friday in the US, and it starts Saturday in Australia and this side of the world. So, and people, if anyone misses out on it, there is a link they can go to, and they can make a small donation to be able to get the replays for 6 months after the event as well. So if someone happens to watch this video and the live event is over, it's free to view live and for 48 hours after the event finishes. But there's a small donation to be able to receive the replays of the event as well.
Amazing. Wow. How do you feel? And I know this may be a question that is very apparent, but how do you feel that this very, very important summit is moving us forward in terms of our human relations? How can this help someone by actually attending?
Well, one of the speakers that I interviewed yesterday said that she feels like there's such a variety of like content and wisdom being shared. And because of the duration of the speakers, usually they speak from half an hour to 45 minutes, and how many people they are, I feel that chances are, if you get to watch all of the event or most of the event, there is so many different bits and pieces about balance, about relationships, about self-love, about relating to others, about shifting into a new paradigm way of sexuality, that you definitely are going to be able to get something for yourself. Like, I am super excited, even though I'm going to be able to watch the replays. I'm hoping to watch it live just because I think it's much more fun. And I know that I'm going to be learning a lot of different things. A lot of the speakers are actually authors, and some of the authors are actually offering PDFs of their books as a freebie to people who are donating. And there's also freebies. There's discounts and different products that will be getting offered to anyone that registers and views the event. So not only do you get the content, the massive amount of varied content around, at least from my perspective, most of it is around cultivating inner unity and then being able to use that to cultivate external unity so that we can better co-create with one another and have much more peaceful, harmonious relationships and creations and create more sustainability in the world. So I feel like all of these different energies and tools that are going to be getting shared and freebies that are going to be getting given, people will have enough to, if you know, they really want to integrate everything, they'll have enough to last them for at least the rest of this year of things that they can cultivate and do to be able to gradually improve, you know, intimacy with self and others, and deeper connections and greater peace and harmony within, greater unity. And I think that that's really powerful. I think that's why I was guided that the first event of the year has to be about the divine masculine and feminine rising. And to me, the divine masculine and feminine rising is about that intrinsic unity, being able to rise into the divinity internally and have them merge together in us so we can feel more wholeness, we can feel more completion. And then as more of us do that, we have, you know, that space to create healthy, sustainable relationships and deeper levels of intimacy, because so much of us have trauma and wounds. And often they can be triggered, and we can trigger each other, and that can prevent co-creation, that can stop sustainability, it can prevent harmony between people. And that's something that I think these sorts of events help people to really not just think about things that sometimes don't get discussed about the internal and about the sexual energy and about shadow aspects of society and different things, but also being able to give them grounded tools so they can either think of things and view things in a different way, but also if they choose, they can be able to integrate and cultivate different energy within themselves to be able to have a more sustainable and happy and harmonious life.
Absolutely. Wow. I'm super excited to watch and to really just get engaged with all of the content that you're going to be sharing. And for those of you who are viewing on Facebook, the link is in the details, and also they can be found on, or well, where else can we find information about the event?
Well, the best place is on the Facebook page or the Facebook group. So if they do search Divine Masculine and Feminine Rising, they'll probably find it'll come up on Facebook with the group or the Facebook page, and there's details on both of those regularly about the Facebook event, which has a link to register. But also, if they want to register and they just want to go straight to the registration link, it's bit.do /capital DMFRS and then lowercase UMMIT. So bit.do /DMFR Summit, and only the UMMIT is lowercase. So that's it. That's a quick way to find it, and that's our short link, and that takes you directly to the registration page where it has all the details about the event, about the VIP donation levels and what you receive, and then you can click on register and put your email address in and register for free, and you'll be emailed all the details and get the freebies, or you can do a donation level to be able to get extra access after the event's live streamed.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much. Do you have any final words that you would like to share for our listeners?
I would love to, and I like to keep it short and sweet. So the final words that I have is a mantra that I've had that's got me through some challenging times that have always held dear to my heart, and I even have it tattooed on my arm. That's how much I like remembering it. And it's be real, be true, be honest, and be you.
Wow. That is really, really touching. I cannot thank you enough, Destiny, for being here with us and sharing your wisdom. I wish you the best of luck with the summit. I'll be watching and rooting for you in the background. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Please remember that you can find us at ourdailymagic.com, and make sure that you register for the Divine Masculine Feminine Rising Summit that is taking place very, very soon. And for anyone who would like to find out more about Destiny herself, where can they go, Destiny?
Well, I have a Facebook page. If they search Fae of Destiny, it's so FAE of Destiny, capital F and capital D for Destiny. It should come up with my Facebook page, and it has everything on there at the moment. I do have a website, but it's currently under construction. So if at some point in the future that you watch this, it's just destinyfae.com, and there'll be a lot of details about what I do there. But at the moment, it's under construction.
It's all good. Thank you so much. And to everyone, make sure that you stay magical. Take care.